makes me hungry.
Welcome back, fans and friends, to the Complete Guide to Horror Movie podcast. Today we're going to be discussing Oculus. Oculus? What the fuck? Today we're discussing Oculus, the 2013 horror film directed by Mike Flanagan. And yes, that is the Mike Flanagan, who also directed The Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Hill Manor, Midnight Club, don't watch that, Fall of the House of Usher, and also Midnight Mass. So this was one of Mike Flanagan's first works alongside Before I Wake. Oculus deals with a sibling duo who try to uncover the evil behind a mirror. Woo! Sounds stupid in theory, but I actually really like this movie.
Quite the opposite, actually.
I thought this was a really good run-of-the-mill horror movie. It had some really great sequences, but I don't know. It's not necessarily one of my favorites, if that makes sense.
That's a trick.
I hadn't even heard of this before, and I didn't even realize when I was watching it was Mike Flanagan, who I know I'd heard that name before, and now it's all clicking, sort of where I've seen him before, which very cool. And I'm just reading now as well. I don't know if either of you knew this, but this is based on Oculus Chapter 3, The Man with the Plan, also by Mike Flanagan. So it's based on the third part of one of his own works. I didn't mind it. Have either of you seen the movie Mirrors with
Yes.
Jack Bauer? I mean, Kiefer
I
Sutherland.
love that movie.
Previously on 24. Damn it. 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 Damn it.
I actually thought this was a lot better. I thought this was a cooler idea for a haunted mirror. You don't know what to believe. And I thought they did that really well, particularly in that scene with the where they go back in and the cameras are facing each other, and they're like,
Yeah.
we've got it on camera, and then they play it back, and it's literally they're doing it. During the conversation they were having before, it was really creepy. So I had a good time with it. It was like a pleasant surprise, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I had a good time. I think this was like one shout out to Video Easy again. When it came out at the time, and just sort of grabbing it and like a new to weekly or something on new release and watching it, and didn't really remember it back then. I think it's 2013 this came out, 2014. And I had a good time. There's actually quite a few good sequences in this film, which I really liked. I really, we'll talk more in the positive, but I'll just make mention. I really did like the younger brother sister actors. That played, the younger version of themselves. I liked that dynamic. It was really good. There was some good kill scenes. There was a lot of like cringy, just like blood and gore scenes, which I was like, ooh, like the fingernail stuff. I had a good time, and it was something different, something I generally wouldn't watch. And I feel like I've seen an iteration of a mirror thing quite a few times in a horror film, but I think they did a good job at this.
Just to throw it back to something you brought up, Coop, with Mirrors, I will always think of that one scene in Mirrors. Amy, I can't remember her last name, the actress's name, but she pulls her fucking jaw off in the bathtub. And it's just like, holy shit, like, did not expect that. But that's a whole separate episode. We'll cover Mirrors in like a year or two or five.
Yeah.
But it's wild. One of my favorite parts about this movie is the fact that the adult actors, even though they make the overall mistake of trying to convince themselves that, we're going to get proof of the mirror being evil to get, what's the word? Vengeance, or like have people believe them, etc. They should have never committed that act in the first place, but they try to do everything with setting up the cameras, as you said before, Coop. And I really like that eeriness, that it's just like, hold on, how the fuck did they put the cameras together? Why is all this stuff happening to them when there's no logical explanation? I like that mind fuckery. But I really enjoyed there was a part towards, I think it's the end of the kids,
Mm.
and there was the phone call.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
What did the doctor say?
He said to have her father call.
911, what's your emergency?
Yeah, hi, I just called 2705 Hawthorne.
You're going to have your father call. The doctor will be there tomorrow. The doctor will be there tomorrow. The doctor will be there tomorrow.
Back when the kid is getting taken away in the taken away in the police van, it goes past the house and you see the ghost of the parents with the eyes. And then again, when he's the adult and accidentally kills his sister, it's the same family, but now the daughter's added.
Mm.
And I like that continuity where it's like, oh, this happened as a kid, happened to him as an adult. So I'm just like, fuck, that's really unnerving for some reason. But yeah, Coop, do you have any other favorite parts?
Yeah, I thought I really like the pacing in this. I thought the way that it kept the story going, both with the what happened 11 years earlier and in the present time. I thought that flowed really well in and out as it sort of hit the climax of the movie.
I guess this is the big climax. Hope you don't mind if I fake it.
I really liked the scene of when she accidentally kills her fiance.
Yep.
I thought that was pretty hectic. And then of course the insane version of that right at the end where he accidentally kills his sister was really full on. Those kind of shock kills of someone dying when they thought something else was happening was really, really effective.
Yeah, there were a couple of good sequences. The fingernail scene, even though it's something tiny, was really disgusting. It was picking at the fingernail. The light bulb scene did remind me of Evil Dead Rise, and even though Evil Dead Rise is this year's one, I feel like this movie did a better job at just articulating like glass in your mouth and the blood coming out, whereas like, you know, Evil Dead had just going down the neck, which it's kind of CGI or whatever, like it didn't really look too gruesome. So I thought that was really good. There was a scene where the mum, I think, was chasing the kids upstairs. And that actually it got me shit scared. It was just like actually really well directed, that whole sort of sequence itself, and she's banging on the door. As you say, Coop, I did like that the fiance scene. I did like as well how she gets a phone out to double check to see what she's seeing on her camera, and it's matching up that she actually did kill her husband. So that was actually really good as well.
What did I do?
In terms of least favorite parts, the other thing I can really comment on this is possibly the pacing. I'm not asking for too much to be cut, maybe just 5 minutes or 10 minutes just to make it a little bit tighter. But everything else generally didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was great, executed well. Also, shout out to the young actors. I do think they were better than the adult actors, but that's just because I also think Annalise Basso, probably got her name wrong, she was also in Ouija Origin of Evil, which I regard as like a really good sequel. So I was like, oh yeah, I like that they used her in this movie. And yes, it came out before Ouija Origin of Evil, but I don't care. Just felt it was really good. I also like that this does show, I guess, a little bit of a preview for Haunting of Hill House. It was like the same directorial choices, emphasis on story over blood and gore, so that when those blood and gore elements do happen, like the light bulb eating, etc., it does really stick with you because it's like, oh fuck, okay, I didn't know we'll go on there today. But I do have to say, I think the eyes, like you've got in your Zoom background, Coop, it just looks cheesy to me. It looks more like, I don't know, like pearls or silver coins that are bulbish. I know it's supposed to be like mirrors and reflections, but I was just like,
Some of the dialogue was a bit weak here and there, but like otherwise I thought, pretty good. Don't really have any negatives. Everything kind of tied in together well, and all the bits that was sort of meant to have an impact did. So yeah, I don't. Other than some stunted dialogue and didn't flow that well here and there. Other than that, no issues.
Yeah, you touched on pacing. I know Coop said pacing was alright, but I did feel pacing was slightly off, just a little bit on this one. Nothing too major though, but enough to, I guess, to gripe me a little bit. I didn't really like the dynamic between the husband and wife in this one.
It's a bit ostentatious, though, don't you think?
Now, there is a little bit of trivia, not too much, but so one important aspect which I did not know is that had director Mike Flanagan agreed to film Oculus in the style of found footage, like Paranormal Activity, etc., a number of studios would have backed it as early as 2006. However, Flanagan refused. And honestly, I'm glad that he refused it, because that whole market, like maybe 2006 there weren't too many found footage, but definitely like late 2000s, early 2010s, every fucking horror movie was found footage.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would have been better. It just kind of would have felt like another Paranormal Activity ripoff, or I don't know, just wouldn't have the same edge, I guess. It'd be like Final Destination going found footage.
Well, like you think now, like to point it out in terms of found footage, I think of like Paranormal Activity, Blair Witch, maybe Quarantine. That's really the three that come to my head.
Yeah.
And this would have just been threw into the bag of crap, lackluster found footage. So I'm glad that they didn't do that. And I'm glad that they stood their ground and didn't go against like studios wanting them to, jump on board early. And saying that, if it was 2006, that's when it started, they may have been able to get away because it would have been one of the early ones and more memorable ones.
Yeah.
But I think this worked well, just not being a found footage.
Yeah. It's like, if you think, had this been made in 2006, probably would have had a 2007 release. It would have been Quarantine, that was 2008. Paranormal Activity, late 2009. Blair Witch wasn't getting a sequel anytime soon. But I don't know, I think the only other movie was Cloverfield, but that was also 2008 from memory.
Yeah, Cloverfield. It's just cover of like The Visit and stuff, but they're all like 2010s.
Yeah, it would have gotten lost. And I think maybe Mike Flanagan just needed that extra time as well to revamp his focus as well. Because as soon as this movie came out, then it was like a huge role for him. It was Hush, it was Before I Wake. And then now he's like regarded as one of the bigger horror creators.
But when I think about it, I don't really think that found footage would have been more effective. I think it would have just been equal, if not worse.
Yeah.
So I don't really, I think it's fine. Yeah.
Easy. Director Mike Flanagan has included the Oculus mirror as an Easter egg in most of his movies and TV shows. So, for example, it's in the basement of Ouija Origin of Evil. It's also the headboard in Gerald's Game. And it's also on the walls in The Haunting of Hill House, which I did pick up when I watched it. I didn't notice Gerald's Game. And I'm surprised because the headboard, it should have been obvious. I actually found a mirror that looked very similar to the Oculus mirror just down my street. And I put it up on my wall. It kept falling down. Each time it fell, a new part of it would break off, but almost perfectly symmetric. And it was so weird. I was like,
that is strange.
I don't have a good feeling about this, and I don't really believe in like supernatural or woo or any of that stuff. But I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna put this outside. The fact that it fell down like 50 times and the glass did not break once, that's fucked.
I'll never expect you to understand that part of my life.
Most of the pictures in the house show either reflections or water. So, for example, in the upstairs hall, there is a black and white photo of the lake reflecting some trees. Another picture shows two identical boats. When Tim is watching his younger self watching a cartoon on TV, the TV becomes filled with static and there are several blips. If you slow motion during that scene, there are 3 pictures. 1, a close-up of adult Kaylee. 2, another close-up of her. And 3, a close-up of Kaylee again, with her mouth open as though she is screaming. In terms of ratings and final thoughts, so I'm going to give Oculus 7.5 out of 10. I don't take any points away for like cinematography or anything like that. I just don't know if this is enough to be regarded as a classic. It is a movie I'll rewatch once every 10 years probably and still have a great time. I don't know. I felt like it needed more, but I don't know exactly what that more is. So 7.5, but still If you're a big fan of Mike Flanagan, you haven't seen this one, check it out. Still got all the creepyisms from Haunting of Hill House. So, yeah, check it out. Coop, what's your verdict and score?
I'm gonna give it 6.5 kill switches out of 10.
Nice. And BP, what's your verdict?
I'll give it 7. It's good viewing. Not really a lot of negatives. I mean, there's more positives. There's good sequences in this. Not too bloody. Well, I mean, it's bloody where it needs to be, and effective, i.e., like the light bulb scene. That works really well. I mean, the reaction in that scene, I had the same reaction I would obviously if I was in that scene eating a light bulb. So that kind of worked really well. And yeah, I guess it could sort of set it up for a sequel down the track as well. I mean, sort of glad it's sort of standalone. And yeah, I think it's a little bit underrated. It's sort of one that's gone sort of under the radar. And yeah, I mean, it's good viewing most of the time. So yeah, 7.
Nice. So our combined score is 21 out of 30, which is a perfect average of 7, which is actually pretty good. I feel like that's the right score. Viewers, we also have previous episodes on everything from Final Destination to Scary Movies, Scream, Event Horizon, you name it, we've got it. Check them all out. Make sure you follow us on TikTok, Instagram, all those platforms, etc. And if you hated this movie,
You and your snot-nosed little brother over there are not to step foot outside of this house. Now get out of here.
My mirror staring back at me.